Hi, my name is Teresa Freitas. I'm a photographer from Lisbon, Portugal, and I was one of the creators invited by Porsche to, in my case, photograph the Porsche Vision GT developed for the new Gran Turismo 7 game. So Porsche actually built a model on a 1:1 ratio for their concept, and although this is a car that will only be available to use virtually, we had this amazing opportunity to see it in real life and create something around it. This was an incredible challenge for me. I love Porsche cars and video games, so I was immediately hooked and really wanted to give my best here. We couldn't photograph outside, which is really where I feel the most comfortable, and we needed a lot of space given the dimensions of the car. So there were some interesting creative challenges and constraints to work with. Since my images are mostly focused around color, we also knew this had to be a very strong element in the motifs we were going to create around the car. So the first thing I did was to propose a number of visuals and references that we could use to start visualizing the final story that we were going then to tell through my images. The first set we thought of would be something that would envision a possible take on the future of racing. So we wanted to illustrate a moment at the racing track and how that could look in my aesthetics. So we have this printed photograph on the backdrop that resembles something from outer space. And this was actually a landscape we managed to find and photograph in Portugal, in this abandoned quarry that very much looked like a moon-like environment. Although we do have the Earth's atmosphere with a blue sky and white cloud in the image to bring us back to this planet. We also wanted to have an assumed realization that we were inside a studio and really emphasize that fabricated look. So we included studio objects like tripods and light stands in the final images too. We then brought in a few racing props like a winner's podium, bench sheets carefully colored in my usual palette, and this big arch doorway that brought somewhat of theatrical mood to the composition, giving it a slightly surreal identity at the same time. The second set that we conceptualized was based around the idea that the car is actually made for a video game. So we have a frame that is this portal or screen to the envisioned game, standing in between the gamer who holds the PlayStation 5 remote and the car. And we also knew that the gamer is the driver, so we wanted to introduce and bring in a human character into the scene, but in a clearly anonymous way, so it fitted with this whole virtual setting that we were in fact dealing with. And that is also transported into the third and last story that we created. We painted the whole set in this pastel green, which made it look a little bit like infinite space from top to bottom. But then with the props that we were using, we gave it the strangeness of having an indoor setting at the same time. So we were in this living room, there's a door slightly open, the sunlight is coming in, and the gamer/driver has the car to himself, but he actually prefers to play with the car in the game. eat some popcorn, and really get absorbed in the virtual world where the car was born. So yeah, I'm really thankful and happy about what we managed to create for this campaign. I invite you to check out my Instagram and Porsche's media channels and discover the final story and images we created for the Porsche Vision GT. Bye!